ClimDev Phase 1, the main outcome of which was actually the conference on climate change in Africa in 2011, I believe. Next slide, please. And so the key objective of the program as it was designed then was to guide the effective integration of climate information and services into development planning and to ensure the mainstreaming of climate considerations in policies, programs aimed at achieving the Millennium Development Goals. That's because the key challenge at that time was, of course, the absence of climate information and services, but also the very low levels of analysis of whatever climate information was available and the low levels of integration of that information into development policy, planning, practice on the continent. Next slide, please. So the initial design, ClimDev is actually an unlimited term program, but it is designed into phases, where phase 1, the first 10 years of the program, was designed specifically to integrate the integration of climate change into development policy. And then this would be reviewed to look at challenges, subsequent challenges, and how they could be addressed by subsequent designs of the project. And so the delivery model, because this is a program that is being implemented by 3 institutions, actually specified the key contributions of each of the 3 collaborating institutions, with the African Climate Policy Center structured to generate knowledge and analytical inputs based on available climate information to support and inform policy development. The key role of the African Development Bank was to demonstrate return on investment in climate information in order to optimize new investments in climate information services, while the AUC functions and continues to function to enable policy formulation and uptake at the highest level. Hence, for instance, the Africa Climate Strategy and Resilient Development Strategy. The program, in addition to supporting member states, would also support regional climate centers, engage civil society, as well as the private sector. Next slide, please. So there were several fundamental assumptions which guided the design of phase 1. The first being that there was, in fact, widespread demand and readiness to use climate information and services for climate resilient development planning in Africa. Secondly, that such demand was not being met at that time because of limited infrastructure, that is observation infrastructure, and limited capacity for the generation of the requisite climate information. And where such information existed, it was not in readily usable forms. And that therefore investment in observation infrastructure would stimulate further demand and also catalyze the mainstreaming of climate information and services into planning. So then the initial program design was based on, firstly, investment in data rescue, which included the digitization of historical analog records, investments in the generation of